Hello, good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening to you. Right, so today we need to start with Unit 7. We have completed up to Unit 6, Day 4. If you were not there, make sure to complete all the self study tasks related to Day 4, Unit 6, Day 4, up to Unit 6, Day 4. Today we will be starting with the Day 1's content of Unit 7. Right. So as you can see, Unit 7 is all about teaching productive skills. So you know there are four main skills when it comes to a language, teaching a language or learning a language. We can divide them as productive and receptive skills. So today we are focusing on productive skills. So under productive skills, we have the speaking and writing skills. Two skills through which we produce information. One is through speaking, and the other one is through writing. So that is what we are going to focus today. Not about both skills, but we will be handling the speaking skill. Then you have the next set, which are known to be the receptive skills. What are they? If speaking and writing are productive, tell me the receptive ones.
Listening
Listening and
and reading.
reading, right? So listening and reading that we will be handling in the next unit, that is on Unit 8. So today's lesson is going to be on issues connected to speaking skill. So look at the subtopics that we will be handling today, go through them. Basic considerations of speaking when it comes to handling the speaking skill, what we need to know about it, right? So, how does it differ from that of the other three skills? And then we will be focusing on the sub skills of speaking. When it comes to teaching speaking in the class, we go by the sub skills, not only for speaking. When we tend to teach any skill based lesson, it's the sub skills that we focus on teaching. Thereby, even with speaking, we intend teaching different sub skills of speaking, right? So thereby we will be looking at the different sub skills that come under the speaking skill. Then we have two concepts connected to speaking: accuracy and fluency. So when it comes to speaking, it focuses on fluency, more on fluency than that of accuracy. But we will be trying to distinguish what is accuracy and what is fluency, and how do these two differ from one another, each other. Then we focus on principles underlying speaking activities. When we do a speaking lesson, we need to provide speaking activities to be done during practice and production stages. So, when we are creating a speaking activity, what should we be aware of? We can just create a speaking activity, but there are certain principles that we need to know if at all we are to create an effective speaking task. So we will be looking at those principles that we need to observe or be aware of. Then we will be focusing on some activities, class tasks that can be used to develop sub-speaking skills. So there are several sub-speaking skills. What can be these different kinds of tasks that can be used to develop them? And the last part will be an introduction to a speaking lesson. Right, so we are not going to handle the entire speaking lesson, but just a very brief introduction towards the pedagogical side of teaching the speaking skill. So these are the subtopics that we will be focusing or discussing today. Just go through them for a while. Right, then we come towards the aims of teaching speaking. When it comes to a language, why is it important to teach the speaking skill connected to that language? Writing, reading, definitely we need to teach. But why should we teach the speaking skill of a language? So there are some reasons attributed. Just go through those reasons and try and come out with any 2 more reasons that you can think of why we need to teach speaking skills. Apart from these 5, think of any 2 more reasons if possible. To enable the learners to use the language and enhance communication. You know, the primary function of language is to promote communication. And mostly, more than that of the written communication, it is the oral communication that is very frequently used. Therefore, to develop the oral communication ability among learners, we have the need to teach speaking in the class. Then look at the second one, to help the learners to use various language functions appropriately. So we use language for different functions, to express different functions like that of apologizing, asking or giving permission, greeting, suggesting, thanking. Right? Tell me some more language functions that that you can think of. Why language is used? Inviting, persuading people to do something or maybe to buy something. What can be one more language? Just think of any other language function that can fall under this category. Requesting, right? So requesting for something, refuting if you don't agree, right? Disagreeing, refuting, all those are language functions. So if we are to make the learners use these language functions appropriately, we need to teach them in a speaking lesson. That we are talking about in a second language or maybe in a foreign language context. In a native context, we don't focus on these small or very trivial issues. But when it comes to learning a language in a second or a foreign language context, these language functions, expressing them, may be a problem for the learner. Then also to improve fluency of speech, to enhance pronunciation, how to articulate words, syllables, phrases, correctly. So if we are to promote pronunciation, it can be done only through teaching speaking. Also to establish and maintain human relationships. If we can express ourselves properly, if we can listen to another person and comprehend the information properly, there can be relationships existing. If not, we can't expect to have good human relationships. So in order to promote or enhance human relationships, speaking becomes a very important task. Speaking fluently, speaking meaningfully becomes very important. Right? So these are some aims why we intend teaching speaking in the class. Other than these, if you know any other one or two aims, just come out with them. You don't know anything? To comprehend different dialects related to a language. Right? So the more we tend to listen and speak, or the more we expose the child to a particular dialect of language, they will be able to comprehend it or maybe understand it clearly in spoken context. If they are not exposed to it, they might misunderstand or they might not be able to comprehend it at all. So the dialectal differences can be understood only when the learner gets exposed to that. Then you have the next important aspect related to spoken language. That is some features of spoken language. Think of any feature of spoken language. Now, spoken language and written language are two manifestations of a language. We don't speak the language the way we write. And we don't write the language the way we speak. There are differences between the spoken language and the written language. Now you need to brainstorm and tell me any feature that is related to spoken language. Don't focus on written language. You can contrast with it, but our aim is to identify the features of spoken language. Think of any feature connected to spoken language. Quickly brainstorm and tell me many features as possible. When we speak the language, what becomes a part of the spoken language? True, you use words, you use phrases, or maybe,
Accent.
what is it?
Accent.
Accent, yeah, pronunciation, accent, it gets connected. It is one of the feature of spoken language. If the pronunciation or if the word is mispronounced, then the entire meaning might change, right? So pronunciation becomes one feature. Any other features?
Dialect.
What is it?
Dialect, ma'am. Every country, the
Dialect.
dialect is
Okay, spoken language has different dialects. It gets related to different dialects, right? But when it comes to the written language, we go by the standard form. You have the standard written language that is accepted by all the speakers, that particular community of speakers. But when it comes to spoken language, there can be multiple dialects that are used by people. Now, when you write something, you use full stop, inverted commas, comma, or maybe exclamation mark. What do you think that do the same function when it comes to the spoken form? We don't use inverted commas or comma or full stop, but that is done by something. What is the feature that is doing that? Or what are the features that perform that function?
The tone in which we speak, ma'am, like when we ask a question, we use a different kind of tone that makes it obvious that this is a question.
Yeah. Tonality, intonation, right? When it comes to question, we have the rising intonation. Then you have the falling neutral, right? So the tone, the pitch, the pause, instead of using a comma or using a full stop, it depends on how long the speaker stops or pauses at a particular place. Any other feature? When you speak a language, imagine that there is a listener in front of you. When you converse with him, when you try to express your ideas, more than that of the tonality, more than that of the language, what else comes into connection? How do you connect with the speaker? If the speaker is visible, how do we connect with the speaker? If it is over the phone, you can't do anything. It has to be purely the pitch and the tone and things that will convey the meaning.
Expression, ma'am, facial expression.
Very good. Facial expressions, eye contact. We don't look at the flow and speak unless you are angry or you are not in good terms with the speaker. Then, of course, you will turn your face or turn your eyes to a different direction and speak. But normally, there will be eye contact maintained. There will be facial expressions that can be read, which are more powerful than the words or maybe the uh, any other information that is conveyed using words. Think of one more feature. So you have the we call it the paralinguistic features. It can be the gesture, it can be the facial expression, it can be the tonality or the pitch, pause, all those things, emphasis that we lay on words, all those get connected to spoken language. Think of one more feature. I don't want many, just think of one more feature. Nishadi, think of one more feature and tell me. In terms of permanency, think what is the feature that you can relate to spoken language? Is it something permanent or is it impermanent? More towards. These days, you can say it's permanent. You can record it in your phone and have it as an evidence. Therefore, you can say it's permanent. But the general practice, or generally when we consider the spoken language and tend to contrast it with written language, is it something permanent or is it more towards impermanent? It is impermanent, right? So you don't generally record each and every utterance that is spoken. It depends on the context. If it is taking place in a legal context, then of course it will be recorded. But we are talking about the general practice. Generally, the spoken language is considered to be somewhat impermanent. The words that you utter are lost forever, right? So you can't get them back. You can't retrieve them. So likewise, see, there are multiple features that we can relate to spoken language. Some you have mentioned, and some others which we haven't discussed are also given over here. Just quickly go through them and ask me if you are not sure of any of these features. New ones. First of all, remember it's an active skill. Spoken skill or spoken language is an oral active skill. You can't expect to involve in it just by sleeping or by doing something else. We have to be alert and active. Then, as you mentioned, pronunciation, fluency is considered more than that of accuracy. When it comes to speaking a language, we check for fluency. In spoken tests, spoken language tests, it is the fluency that is seen to more than that of accuracy. It doesn't mean you can speak any rubbish and get away with it, but it is the fluency, how capable the candidate is in expressing his ideas in spite of grammatical mistakes. Whether fluency is there is going to be checked. Then this one you mentioned, the supra segments of the language. Spoken language is always connected to the suprasegmental features of language. It can be the emphasis or stress, intonation, tone, rhythm, in so many other suprasegmental features. Pause, pitch, all those get involved when it comes to spoken language. Paralinguistic features. At times, we won't utter a single word, but still, we will perform the act of communication using our body movements, using our eye contact, using different gestures or signals. All those are part of spoken language. You can't relate these or you can't find these in written language, right? So no gestures, body movements, or any facial expression get connected to written language. False starts. If somebody asks you a question, you don't tend to give the answer in one whole sentence. Where are you from? From this particular place. I am from this place, you don't say, right? So false starts, incomplete sentences, ideas, all those are possible. They are used mostly they are used in spoken language. Fillers, when we lack for ideas or when we lack information. You're delivering a speech on a particular topic. Halfway through, you forgot what you have to say next. What do? We tend to cover up that particular space, that thinking thought time, using fillers. It can be by saying or ah, or maybe we can say divert from the topic and just say a small story, or maybe any other joke or something. Likewise, we tend to cover up a certain space of time. Why? Till we are able to recall the needed information. So that is possible only in spoken language. Pitch, eye contact, I mentioned. Turn taking. If 3 people or 4 people are leading a discussion, all of them don't speak simultaneously. We wait patiently and they tend to speak or express their opinion or ideas according to a particular turn. An interruption, polite interruption is usually done. Repetition. Information gets repeated, or certain key factors, very important information, will be repeated multiple times in order to emphasize it. Contracted forms. In spoken language, when we tend to develop dialogues or role plays, it's the contracted forms that are used over there. It's I'm, we are, right? We don't say we are, I am. Likewise, it's the contracted forms. Especially with spoken language, a whole lot of contractions are used. So go through the features once again very quickly. Right, mention certain features before we discuss the next topic. Just come out with any 3 or 4 features that you have read. Can't remember any. Did you read or busy doing something else?
Pitch, eye contact.
Yes.
Stress, intonation pattern.
Louder. I am a bit deaf now. I have turned deaf. Louder. Speak louder.
Repetition, pitch,
Okay,
eye
repetition.
contact,
Mhm.
eye contact.
Eye contact.
Stress and intonation patterns.
Right. Okay. Then we come towards what should we teach in speaking. I told you when it comes to a skill-based lesson, it can be speaking, it can be reading, writing, any skill. We go by the sub-skills. That means we focus on teaching the sub-skills of that particular skill. Speaking skill means the sub-skills of speaking skills. So these are the sub-skills of speaking skills. When we are handling a speaking lesson, we can teach one of these sub-skills, or maybe we can teach more than one of these sub-skills. It depends, right? So you can focus on teaching pronunciation. It can be 2 sounds, making them to articulate 2 sounds properly, like that of sir and sh, seat and sheet, or o and o, whole and hall. So there is a distinction. If you say whole instead of hall, the meaning can differ. Drastically, there can be meaning differences caused. The meeting was held at the hall. If the child articulates like that, then it becomes very inappropriate, unaccepted meaning. So therefore, enhancing or making articulate the words correctly with the correct pronunciation. That can be one of the that is one of the sub skills. We can do a lesson related to that. Then promoting accuracy and fluency, making them to fluently speak. When it comes to the speaking skill, there can be minor grammatical mistakes. Still, for all, the person should be able to express his ideas, to convey his ideas, or maybe to make the listener understand what he is trying to express. That is known to be fluency. We'll be focusing on that. Then listening comprehension, speaking. If we listen only, we'll be able to comprehend what is being spoken to us. So that is also identified as a sub-skill. And also appropriate response. The more we comprehend, appropriate responses can be given. If we don't comprehend, then we will give irrelevant responses. Appropriateness. Using the language according to the situation. The words that we use according to the role relationship. That is, if you are addressing your superior or maybe an elder, the polite language that you need to use. You can't address him or you can't speak to him like that of a friend. The context doesn't allow us to speak like that. Right? So using appropriate language depending on the role relationship, depending on the context about which we are speaking. If we are speaking about legal activities or maybe issues connected to courtroom, we need to use specific vocabulary. Right? So likewise, using appropriate language to suit the situation. That is also a sub-skill. Intelligibility, that is clarity of speech. Able to express oneself clearly. Using the linking devices or any kind of coherences and all. Turn-taking, articulation, and interrupting. How to interrupt politely. The phrases or maybe the words, the way you interrupt, all those. Right? So remember, when it comes to handling a speaking lesson, we will be focusing on one of these sub-skills. You can teach any aspect of the sub-skill. Pronunciation means it can be any sound or it can be any word. It can be connected to silent letters. You can teach any aspect connected to the pronunciation. Likewise, these are the sub-skills. We will be teaching one of these sub-skills or any issue connected to one of these sub-skills. Then we come towards the two concepts of accuracy and fluency. What is meant by accuracy? What do you think accuracy is all about? Tell me. If you are using accurate language, what is the meaning of that? What do you expect a person to have if he is using accurate language?
Proper grammar when they speak, ma'am.
Good. When they speak, they should use proper grammar. The grammatically correct sentences should be used. Right? So not only grammatically correct, it can be even spelling or maybe word, syntactically, semantically correct ones, all those come under accuracy. And what about fluency? Here it's correct. What do we relate to this concept? Right. What is accuracy and what is fluency all about? Go through it. Accuracy and fluency are two interrelated and interdependent terms that go hand in hand, right? So there is some kind of a connection between these two concepts. Interrelated and interdependent, they rely on each other. What is accuracy all about? Expressing ideas without any flaws in terms of grammar or meaning, without any grammatical errors, without any semantical errors, meaning, synonyms, antonyms, right? So all those are checked for. So using perfect grammar and meaning in writing, mostly accuracy gets related to the writing skill. You should have accuracy in spoken skill as well, but mostly it's observed in writing skill. Grammar and meaning, having accurate grammar and meaning is known to be accuracy. Focuses on perfect sentence construction. Accuracy is considered in writing. Right? So writing is a manifestation of language which is more or less saved or kept as a record. Now, what you speak, the words are lost for eternity. You can't get back those words. But writing, not like that. If you write a letter or if you write an assignment or any other thing, it can be stored. It is something that is permanent. You can hold on to it for a considerable period of time. Therefore, accuracy becomes very important in the manifestation of writing. Fluency, look at the concept of fluency, expressing ideas clearly in spite of accuracy, in spite of inaccuracy, right? So there can be grammatical mistakes, there can be semantic mistakes connected to semantics, but in spite of it, if you are able to convey your idea, that is known to be fluency. Fluency is essential to maintain meaningful communication. When you speak the language, there can be multiple mistakes that you make. But in spite of it, if the person who is listening to you is able to grasp the meaning, then your speech is considered to be fluent. Fluency is considered in speaking. Therefore, a balance should be maintained between accuracy and fluency for a good level of communication. Just because speaking language has fluency, we can't do away with accuracy. That is not acceptable. You can have minor mistakes or minor errors, but overall, the spoken language should be meaningful. That is very important. Right? So look at this example. The first set of example. He always want to go to cinema. I went to home. These two sentences, are they accurate? Do you think They
No,
both
ma'am.
these. No. What is the mistake that you find in the first one?
He always wants to go to the cinema. I went home.
Oh. So the preposition is wrong in the second one. Subject verb agreement is wrong in the first one. So both are inaccurate. They lack accuracy. In terms of grammar, they are inaccurate sentences. If we are to give marks, we can't give marks for these two sentences. 0. But in spoken language, they are acceptable. Why? Because they convey the meaning. Whether he always wants to go to cinema or he always want to go to cinema, the listener can understand the intention of this sentence. Similarly, I went to home. The meaning is expressed. Therefore, they are known to be fluent sentences which lack accuracy. These kind of sentences can be accepted in the speaking skill. In the spoken language, these kind of sentences can be accepted. They are approved. When a speaking test is administered and if a candidate is speaking like this, he or she will be getting marks for fluency since these convey meaning. But if he tends to use these sentences in the written paper, in the written skill test, they won't be getting any marks. That is the difference. Therefore, as long as accuracy does not impede communication, block the communication, it can be tolerated. Look at the third example. The animal run sanctuary I saw. This is also an inaccurate sentence. But can you tolerate this kind of a sentence in spoken language? First of all, tell me, does it express any idea, any meaning? What kind of meaning can you relate to this sentence? If you are to comprehend the meaning of this sentence, how can you
I think
interpret?
it's. I think they wanted to say that I saw animals running in a sanctuary. I feel like that is what they want to say, but it's not clear, ma'am.
Right. So you might have one view, animal is running in the sanctuary. And person can say, when I saw the animal, it was running from the sanctuary or it was running into the sanctuary. So there can be different interpretations. No clear idea is expressed. So these kind of sentences cannot be accepted in the spoken language. Just because we are talking about fluency, it doesn't mean that you can tolerate or approve any kind of grammatically inaccurate sentence. As long as it is ambiguous, you can't approve those kind of sentences. Right? So you need to remember the two concepts, accuracy, what is accuracy and what is fluency. We are talking about speaking skill. Thereby, we focus on fluency more. So when we check for fluency, the overall meaning should be clearly understood. That is the criteria that we use to measure fluency. None other than the others. Then we come towards the principles underlying speaking activities. When we prepare a speaking activity, what should we take into account? Read. Any speaking task should create the need to communicate. right? So there should be the need for the person to communicate, to talk to another one and find out information. If you are going to give a fill in the blank task with all the words given over there, provided, then it is not a good speaking task. Why? They don't need to communicate. They can just quietly use the words that are provided in the box and complete that task. No need to speak and get to know any kind of information. Interaction is nil over there. Therefore, that is not identified as a good speaking task. Second one, it should provide a reason or a purpose to speak. Now, for example, if you are giving a task, say you want to know the birthday. Your task is about the one, if you are giving a pair work or a task to be done in pairs, you intend one student to speak to the other person and find out his or her date of birth, right? And you are putting them into pairs. If they know, if they are good friends, they will definitely know the birthday of the other person. So there is no reason or purpose for them to speak. Instead of asking for the date of birth, they might speak something else. So you can't blame the child. The mistake is with the task, with the teacher, right? So she should have given some other context or some other situation for them to speak, right? So whatever the task that we provide should relate to a purpose to speak. Instead of inquiring about the date of birth of that child, if we had given them the task, ask about the date of birth of your mother, then it would have been a suitable one. Then there would have been a purpose. Definitely, they won't know the date of birth of the mother. So they have to speak out and ask, right? So likewise, whenever we are preparing a speaking task, check whether there is a purpose for them to interact. If not, it is not a good speaking task. It should be based on information gap principle. Information gap means one person should know some information which the other one doesn't know. So you know something which I don't know. Then only I'll be able to speak and elicit that information from you. We'll be looking at it in the next few slides. So that is the third principle. Any task that is developed should have the information gap principle. Students should be made aware of its communicative value, what they learn out of it by using that task, or maybe by doing that task. What are they learning from that? And where can they use this task in their day-to-day life? Can they use it in a shopping mall, or can they use it to speak to their friends? Or is it possible to use it in an interview context of an interview? Likewise, we have to emphasize where this kind of a function can be used. That is known to be the communicative value. And also it should be based on a real life context, something that is familiar to the child. Tell me the answers for this. So these are the 5 important principles. You have to be very clear about it when we are doing the speaking activities, or when we are preparing the speaking lesson plan and you're asked to do a speaking activity. You have to go by these principles. Don't go to give true or false questions, fill in the blanks, matching. Those are not speaking activities. Those are made for reading purposes. They are more towards testing the reading comprehension, not how a person is fluently speaking. Now tell me, brainstorm for the possible speaking activities based on the above principles. Now, one is dialogue. Dialogue is a speaking task. You can make them interact in a dialogue. Role, likewise, think of any other
Ma'am,
speaking task.
drama type of
Dramas,
speaking
yeah, good.
activity, debate type, mini debates.
Debate, yeah.
Speeches, ma'am.
Speech, impromptu speech, or maybe prepared speech, it depends. Both
Debate.
kinds. Debate, yeah.
Q&A, question and answering, ma'am.
Discussions, question
Discussion.
and answer session, discussions. With small children, they can't discuss, they can't debate. What are the tasks we do?
Storytelling.
Storytelling, yeah, good.
Saying rhymes.
What is it?
Rhymes, ma'am. Singing
Rhymes,
rhymes.
yeah. Riddles, rhymes. You tell the riddle, you make them come out with the answer. It's a kind of a speaking. Songs, pronunciation, to promote pronunciation. Rhyme, songs. Something that you do using pictures. What is it? Not with small children, with intermediate grades or maybe with advanced learners.
Picture description, ma'am.
Yeah, picture description. Go through this. Whatever that you have mentioned is all what you have mentioned. Problem solving, right? So you just give them a situation. For example, Jack is getting late every day to come to school. How can we make him come on time? Suggest some ways that you can, any remedy that you can implement. So that is a kind of a problem solving. Or it can be just simple mathematical questions that you orally make them tell and find solutions. Information gap, we will be looking at it. Role play. Simulations. You create classroom situations, mini classroom situation. If you make them celebrate the Aurudutsav in the classroom, that is a simulation activity. You make them dress, come in the cultural dress, bring all the needed maybe food items and whatever that is that are required for the celebration to the class. Decorate the class and celebrate it in the class. Then it becomes a simulation activity. You create a mini situation in the class. It can be the Sunday fair. It can be a student parliament. Using the entire students in the class, teacher tends to create a mini situation where they interact, they take the roles of different characters and they interact, and the child learns what is happening in that event, in that context. Instructions, giving instructions, making them to follow it, or maybe physical response. With small children, they might not be able to follow it in the written way, but you can make them to physically respond. Right? So all these are catering towards developing speaking skills. When we involve in doing discussions, there are several language functions that can get involved in discussing. What can be the functions? Tell me any of the language functions that you can relate to discussions. Expressing your opinion. You express your opinion. Accepting another person's opinion. Right? So when somebody else come out with their opinion, you have to voice out and say whether you like it or whether there are any amendments to be made. Any other language function? Expressing, accepting. What else? Always you can't be accepting. If you don't like it, if it is not appropriate, what should you do?
Rejecting opinion, ma'am.
Yeah, rejecting or disagreeing with them.
And asking for permission.
Very good. Asking for further clarification. You can ask them why, what are the reasons? So you clarify.
Request.
Disapprove.
Suggesting ideas.
Suggestions. Yeah, very good. Suggestions. You provide some suggestions. So see how many language functions are getting involved when it comes to leading a discussion. So if we just give them a topic and ask them to discuss, if the child can't agree or disagree, or if the child can't express his opinions, they won't discuss. They will just keep quiet. They will try to keep quiet and while away the time. Go through this. So therefore, we have to first teach them the language functions before involving in these kind of challenging tasks, like that of, say, discussion, debates. These are all very challenging speaking tasks. Role play, of course, that they can even look at it and read, but not these. So see how the functions, language functions are taught. Read out. Any discussion needs preparation in relation to the topic and language. So they should know the topic, that is the schema. If you are asking them to talk about online shopping, they should know some information related to online shopping. If not, the child can't speak, lead a discussion. And also the language functions, like what we have discussed. Therefore, it's advisable to practice the needed skills beforehand using different activities. If you think your students are below average or maybe average, likewise, then you have to first teach them or practice these language functions and also provide them with the required information beforehand. Otherwise, you can't expect them to involve in that. So see, they have given how the language function of interrupting is getting practiced in the class, the procedure that is involved in practicing the language function of interrupting. Read. Like this, we have to invent. We have to be innovative and think of different ways through which we can practice the other language functions, whatever the language functions we intend to teach. See how this is done? Teacher and learners brainstorm for the phrases used in interrupting. They are intending to teach interrupting. So to interrupt a person, what can be the words or phrases that we can use? Sorry, can I have a word? Excuse me. So those are the words and phrases that we usually use. Write them on the board. So everything is listed on the board that they are using to interrupt. Instruct the learners. Teacher is instructing the learners that she would be presenting a talk and they have to interrupt her. So teacher gives the instruction. Now I'm going to talk. I'm going to make a speech on a particular topic, on online shopping. while I am speaking, you need to use one of these words at a time and interrupt me. So when the learners are interrupting, look at the teacher, what the teacher does. Teacher rebuffs all their interruptions. Teacher doesn't stop and answer. Teacher turns a deaf ear to the interruptions of the student, allowing opportunities for the learners to continue interrupting. So one after the other, maybe 4 or 5, will use those different words and phrases and try to interrupt the teacher. Teacher won't be answering or responding to any of their questions. Ultimately, teacher will instruct the learners. She will answer the questions, whatever the important questions, she will address them, and she will instruct the learners to practice the same task, or maybe this in the same manner, to interrupt another person while he or she is speaking. Right? So how to use or how to perform the language function of interrupting is taught using the procedure of that particular task. Likewise, requesting, disagreeing, suggesting. We have to think of teaching those kind of language functions. Look at the language skills needed for discussion. We talked about interrupting. Other than that, so many other language skills. Negotiating, clarifying, you mentioned, interrupting, changing the subject. If you don't have adequate information, you can change the subject. Disagreement, contradicting ideas, persuading, turn-taking, right? So all these are different language skills that get involved when we tend to discuss about a topic. Similarly, you have debates. Look at the sub-skills. Logical thinking, expressing ideas, presenting facts in a very systematical manner, arguing, refuting, contradicting. Mostly with advanced learners, we can practice debates. We can make them to involve in debates. Then you have the concept of balloon debates, which is very often done with intermediate grades. In intermediate grades with average learners, you can easily make them involved in balloon debates. Balloon debates means if 4 or 5 characters, teacher needs to assign the character. Imagine that 5 people are traveling in a hot air balloon. Those 5 people can be a doctor, can be an accountant, it can be the president of a country, it can be a pregnant mother. We can decide who those people are, who those characters are. And we tell them, now you be the president, you be the doctor, you be the pregnant mother. Likewise, we assign characters. The learners each assign them with each character and ask them, now suppose if the hot air balloon is going to explode due to some technical error, if it is going to explode and if one of you have to jump out, you need to defend yourself. You have to say that I can't jump out of this hot air balloon because I am needed. I am a needed person in the country. Or maybe any reason. You have to come out with a valid reason saying why you can't jump out of the hot air balloon. For example, the pregnant mother can say, I can't jump out because there are 2 lives involved. If I jump out, not only one person, 2 people will be dead. Similarly, the president can come out with some other reason. Likewise, not many, just one reason, any acceptable reason. They are made to articulate. Just come out with any reason. So this kind of a balloon debate is usually done with primary learners, intermediate learners. It works well. Then the other debates. Other debates are meant for advanced ones. Then you have the information activities. Look at the picture on your right-hand side. Now, this one is a bit more crowded and informative. We'll deal with it later. Look at this now. A and B. An information gap activity is usually done as a pair work. It works well when it is done as a pair. So one person will have the A picture. The other person will have. Now let's assume you are having the A picture and I am having the B picture. Now the task is I need to find out the objects that are mentioned down here. You have the lamp, you have the chair, then the toys, the picture, and the TV. Now, all these 5 objects are missing in my picture. They are not marked. I need to ask from you where these objects, each of these objects are kept. And draw those objects on my picture. So in your picture, you have all these objects. See, you have the chair, you have the lamp, you have the toys. Everything is there. So I need to ask question and get information from you. You will reply. When you reply, I have to draw those objects in my picture. Similarly, you don't have these objects. The teddy bear, ball, clock, pillow, and the bookshelf are not in your picture. So you have to ask questions from me and find out where these objects should be drawn in your picture. So you have to ask, where is the ball? I will tell. It's behind the door. So you have to draw a ball behind the door. Then I'll ask, where is the lamp? You will come out with the answer. It's on the window sill. Then I need to draw the lamp in the windows. Right? So that is known to be the information gap. There is a gap related to some information. So that is now this picture, it's clearly marked. You don't have any problem. You can easily formulate the question. Where is the question form is also given. And the answer, expected answer, the lamp is on the window sill. The ball is behind the door. Likewise, the answer and question, everything is given. But here in the first picture, come to the first picture now. Nothing of this sort is. With an advanced learner, you don't need to provide all this. For small children, yes, we need to give. Otherwise, they will struggle. But for maybe for ordinary level or maybe 10, 11 advanced level learners, you don't have to provide. You can just give the pictures and ask them to talk about the picture and find out these differences. Take 2 minutes and describe your picture. Other person will listen and try to find out what are the differences that they can sense by observing their picture. Now tell me the differences by observing these 2 pictures. Both are more or less same, but there are differences. Just look at, very intently look and come out with a difference.
The time in the clock is different, ma'am.
The time in the clock is different. 1. Any other differences?
There are 3 bananas in one picture in the banana comb, and in the other one, there's only 2.
2. The number of bananas.
Yeah. And then there is something like a yellow color food item in one tray. In the other tray, it's not there.
The color of the cookie is different. In one tray it's
Yeah.
yellow, and in the other tray it's orange or brown, like that. Right, the color of the cookie. The number of
The bush
bananas.
on the table. The bush on the table, ma'am. In one, there are 2 pink flowers. I think that's a bush. I'm not sure, ma'am. But in the other, there's only 1.
Yeah, this one. You mean the blue and green, that one, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That.
Mhm. Yes. Then look at the grandmother, and there is some difference that you can see.
The hairpin of grandmother.
In one picture, the grandmother is having a hairpin. In the other one, she doesn't have a hairpin.
There is a difference in her tie also, ma'am. There is 2 additional lines in one picture. The other one is plain. Tie or the vest that she's wearing, the white color one, the one underneath her blue coat.
Yeah. This one, yeah.
Yeah.
That one, and yeah. The pattern on the, is it a jacket or something? Yeah. Look at any difference that you can sense in the cat. Or any difference that you can see in the cupboard that is there in the background.
Yeah, in one cupboard there's a blue color
Egg cup. Yeah, in
cup.
the first picture, you have an egg cup, blue color egg cup, and in the second one, I don't
Spoons like
handle, or I can't,
can
it's not clear enough, but it's not an egg cup, it has something else.
Ma'am, there is a photo frame in the background. They are different, ma'am. The mountain shape is different.
Yeah, this one, the green and blue
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yes. And
The
also the
pictures.
knob in the cupboard. In one cupboard, the knob is shaped as a heart, and the other one is shaped as a circle.
Yeah. Right. So now see, if we are making now, since both pictures are visible to us, we are able to easily contrast them. But when it comes to 2 different students, only one person is going to have one picture. So he can't peep into the other person's picture and try to see what is given over there. They are made to sit back to back and describe it. So we have to tell them beforehand, maybe you have to sense 6. If there are 10 differences, at least you need to sense any 5 differences that can be related to the grandmother. You don't have to tell about the suit of the grandmother or hairpin. Can be related to the grandmother, related to the cupboard, or any other object that is there on the table. Likewise, you have to give some background clue for them to work, if they are to work effectively. If you just provide the picture and ask them to talk, then it will end up as a picture description. This is not a picture description, by the way, it's an information gap activity. So we have to provide some clue, not as detailed as this for advanced learner. Maybe in terms of words, we can provide the clue. Right, so that is how an information gap activity works. It's a very good activity to promote speaking tasks. Then you have some skills or skills needed for effectively performing an information gap activity. See, clarifying. Definitely we need to clarify. If I say the ball is behind the door, then you might ask, is it more towards the end of the door or is it at the beginning of the door? So what are we doing? Clarify. So these are the other language functions that we require to perform an information gap activity correctly. Apologize if you go wrong, or maybe if misinformation is given, we might need to apologize. We need to describe, right? So it's a very comprehensive kind of an activity which involves almost many language functions. Then you have the role play. Just go through that. You know what role plays are and what they are capable of promoting. Just read up. Assign a role card. Make them sure of the role that they are to perform, particularly with small children. And talk about the role of a particular character. If they are assigned the role of a doctor, explain about what they are expected to do. Real life situations, whatever the role play that we intend to use, let it get connected to the real life situation. Speaking should be encouraged and not reading. Most of the time, they end up just reading out the role play. If they are really unable to speak, if they are very weak, then of course you can approve it, at least them read aloud. But make sure to make them utter at least one or two sentences, utterances. Then totally reading the entire role play. Number of roles should be minimized. It's always good to have around 3 to 4 characters so that each person will have more opportunity to participate, to speak out. Then you have the skills practiced in role play. Just go through them and ask me if you don't understand any. Likewise, simulations. Read. So I have mentioned about simulation activities, creating mini classroom situations. That is what a simulation task aims to do. Think of the sub-speaking skills that can get practiced in a simulation activity, in any kind of simulation activity, one of these three. If you take a Sunday fair, what can be the sub-skills?
Negotiating.
Negotiating.
Children learn how to use persuasive language, ma'am, in order to get people to
Yeah,
buy.
context-specific language, negotiating, then any other arguing, or maybe more than arguing, it's negotiating. That is the exact term. Clarifying, right? So clarifying any information connect or product or maybe anything. Then comes giving instruction, another speaking activity, mostly done You can do it with any level of learners, starting from primary, even with intermediate and advanced ones. You can give different kinds of instructions. It depends. Simple task instructions or maybe complicated ones like that of map marking or identifying locations in the map, marking the route in a map. All those can be practiced with advanced learners or intermediate ones. Just oral instructions can be given for primary learners, right? So that is a very, for the starting point, just to make them speak out, giving instructions becomes a very useful kind of a speaking task. Look at this task. Complete the following grid using suitable information. Loud reading. This is also a speaking task, by the way. They don't speak anything, but they just orally read out. Think of any language functions or maybe exponents that you can relate to sub-speaking skills. Promoting pronunciation, that can be a sub-speaking skill. What are the language functions that you can relate to loud reading? Expressing supra segments, right? Or practicing supra segments. Pause, speech, when they read aloud, those are needed to be observed. Exponents used, you don't have much when it comes to loud reading. Tell me for simulation, language function and whatever that you can teach using simulation. For example, vocabulary related to that particular context can be taught. That is a teaching exponent. Likewise, think of any other example.
Greetings, ma'am. For example, if the situation is like a Sunday fair or like a debate, certain greetings like thank you, welcome, and all those things, they are very important.
Phrases, yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings, phrases connected to the Sunday fair or any other context. Sub-speaking skills under simulation. What can be the sub-speaking skill that you can teach? We had a look at the sub-speaking skills and they are here. See? Think of any sub-speaking skill that can be addressed using this any simulation activity.
Polite interruption.
Polite interruption. Turn taking. Right? Prepared speech, when you make them memorize somebody else's now speech of Martin Luther King or maybe Abraham Lincoln and deliver it, what can be the language functions that can get related to that?
Tone, ma'am.
What is it?
Tone, the way these
Tone.
popular
Yeah.
speakers they speak, they have an accent or
Tonality, expressions connected to it, facial expression, meaningful render,
And presenting ideas.
presenting ideas. It's a prepared speech, yeah. Memory, right? So presenting ideas in the accepted format. What can you teach by making them to memorize and deliver a speech? What exponents of language can be taught? Pronunciation, any other Um, language vocabulary, okay.
Intonation.
Suprasegments, intonation, emphasis. And how to make a speech, how to initiate a speech and finish it, end it in a proper way. So like that, for announcing and problem solving, you think of any probable language functions, what you can teach in terms of language, oral language, what you can teach apart from language functions, what else can you teach, and also the sub-speaking skills. Look at your self-study task, go through it. List down a minimum of 6 speaking activities separately that can be used in primary grades. For example, you put primary grade and list down, say, songs and rhymes, poems. Think of any other speaking activity appropriate for primary.
Storytelling.
Storytelling. Loud reading. Small children, grade 2, grade 1, grade 2, you can even use loud reading, right? So likewise, you list down 6 activities for primary and for secondary classes. It can be a simulation, it can be, what are the other activities? Tell me.
Picture
Balloon
description.
debates, yeah?
Picture description.
Picture description. 2 more.
Speeches.
What is it?
Speeches, ma'am.
Features. What is that?
Speeches. Speeches, ma'am. I said speeches.
I didn't get it. Think of any other.
Role,
Put it in the chat box.
role play, ma'am.
Role play, dialogue, role play, instructions, right? So likewise,
Speaking cards.
speeches, speaking cards, right? So likewise, you first list down for each set. Think of 6 speaking and don't go to repeat the same thing. If you had mentioned songs over here, don't repeat songs again for secondary. Try to find different kinds of tasks. Highlight the sub-speaking skill that can be taught through each activity, right? Only the sub-speaking skills they are requesting, not the exponent. They are not asking for the exponent or something else. Only any sub-speaking skills. It has to be at least 2. It's in the plural form. So if you say loud reading, you can mention pronunciation. Supra-segments. Likewise, you need to mention at least 2 sub-speaking skills for each of the activity that you have mentioned. Right? So opposite to that, just mention the sub-speaking skills. Put another column and mention the sub-speaking skills. Then you can answer it once and for all. Provide a model or sample of any 3 activities indicating the grade for which you intend to use it. For example, if you have chosen a song, let's assume a song based on clothes, for which grade do you intend to use it? It can be for grade 2, right? So you have to write out that song and mention the grade. Sub-skill that you need to teach or you aim to teach through that song. And the time duration. It can be for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? So these 3 activities are separate ones, not they don't have any connection with the first and the second question, right? Think of any, it can be a story, it can be, don't go in for stories, just think of fables, very short stories. It's easy for you to print out or write it out. Right, so that is your self-study task.
Does it mean that we need to write the whole song or the story?
Yeah, here provide a model or sample of any 3 activities. If you have chosen a story, let's say for grade 5, you have to say the fox and the grapes. And you need to write that story, give the story, and then tell what is the sub-skill you are going to teach through this story. And roughly what will be the duration of this particular activity. If you are going to do it as a practice activity, maybe it will take 5 minutes, 6 minutes like this. You have to just mention the time duration. If you are doing an announcement, you have to give the announcement, write out the announcement. Understood?
Yeah, ma'am. One more question, ma'am. The third question we need to answer. We mentioned to teach only speaking activities, right, ma'am? Comprehension and other things are not involved, right?
I didn't get what you are asking for. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the third question, ma'am, provide model sample of entry activities.
Yeah.
When we provide this model or sample, I need to think of ways in which I can teach only speaking skills, right, ma'am? I don't have to think about
Yeah,
comprehension
you
or
have to
grammar.
you have to think of any activities. Decide on the grade. It can be for primary, it can be for secondary. You are free to choose any grade and any activity.
Okay, ma'am.
Right, so that is for your self-study task. Then we'll be starting with the second part of the pedagogical issues connected to speaking skill next week. That is, when are you, is it possible for me to have a class on Thursday? This Thursday?
Yes, ma'am. Thursday, I'm fine.
How about
Okay,
the
ma'am.
others? How many are there? Only 5 are there.
Ma'am,
Will all 5 of you will be able to join?
Thursday is a bit difficult.
What is the time that you prefer to have?
Wednesday is fine, or Thursday after 7:30.
Okay. How about Wednesday then?
Yeah, ma'am. Wednesday is fine.
I'm
Anybody
sorry,
who
ma'am.
has any
Wednesday, I will not be able to make it, ma'am. But I can make it on Thursday and Friday. If the other student is okay on Friday, I can make it.
Friday is not possible. Last time also we had it, we decided for the Friday and ultimately I had to cancel it. So that's why either on Wednesday or Thursday, if you
Can we
can.
have it after 7:30, ma'am? Like, if it is on Wednesday, I can make it after 7:30 because I will come home by 7, ma'am.
After 7:30. At 7:30 you can't. If we start
Okay.
at,
Okay, I can, ma'am. 7:30 I can.
how about the others? Are you able to, now this won't be a
Yes,
permanent
ma'am.
timetable for the time being. Maybe for this week and next week, you can follow that. Is it possible for you to come on this Thursday at 7:30?
Yes, ma'am. It's possible.
All?
We can make it. Yeah.
Then I'll
About
inform.
others.
Yeah, I'll then inform the office and you can come on Thursday be here by sharp 7:30. Don't get delayed, right? So try to make it at sharp 7:30. We'll finish the second day, the day two's content. Right, so when are we meeting next?
Thursday,
ma'am.
7:30,
Thursday.
ma'am.
That will be on the 27th, right? So today is, yeah. Monday, Tuesday you can't. No, Monday also you can't.
Monday to Wednesday, I am working part-time, ma'am. So that's the issue.
Monday to Wednesday you are working. Thursday you are
Yeah.
not working.
No.
Okay, then we as decided we'll make it on Thursday for this week. Afterwards we'll see. Right? So Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Right? Okay, then I'll see you on Thursday. Complete the self-study task.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Welcome.